Hey, welcome back for another lens comparison. This time we'll be looking at the Viltrox 20mm f2.8, which was released at the end of 2023, and the Samyang 18mm f2.8, which came out a few years earlier. Now let's not forget, when it comes to wide-angle lenses, every millimeter counts. Whether you're into landscape, architecture, or vlogging, even a millimeter difference can make a big impact. So let's see how these 2mm variants play out, and we'll also look at other aspects of these two lenses. We'll start with the side-by-side comparison. For every photo, you can see the obvious difference between 18 and 20mm. This would be significant if you are shooting indoors at tiny space, or if you are capturing immense landscapes. Another interesting thing is that sometimes the Samyang 18mm lens seems to have more contrast than the Viltrox lens. And even though the setting is exactly the same, at the same aperture, the same ISO, and the same shutter speed, the Viltrox lens seems to look a little bit brighter, and somehow it has this kind of glow at the highlight area. It doesn't happen every time, so I don't think it's a huge problem. It probably depends on the environment. If you have watched my review video for this Viltrox lens, you know I have pretty positive feedback about the optical performance and the color rendition about this lens. It's definitely sharp enough. When you compare it side by side with the Samyang lens, most of the time I can't really tell which one is sharper. According to their official website, the Viltrox lens has the minimum focus distance of 19 cm, while the Samyang lens is at 25 cm. Although a 6 cm difference might seem significant, but in practice it doesn't feel that distinct. The distance between the front of the lens and the object appears very similar. But in terms of the result, I believe the 18 and 20mm focal length offer distinctly different perspectives. This applies not only to landscape and architecture shots, but also to close-up photography. This is something you might want to consider when choosing between the two lenses. And don't forget, both minimum focus distance and the focal length will affect background separation. So if we look at the bokeh, the 20mm lens will give you more obvious out of focus look. Both lenses present very good chromatic aberration control, and the distortion is not very obvious. You can see here is how it looks when I turn off lens correction, and here is the lens correction on. It's actually pretty close. What might bother you is the heavy vignetting at f2.8, but once you step down to f4, both lenses have great improvement. Let's also look at autofocus performance. I did a test in bright daylight and another in low light. You can see both lenses have similar great performance. It's very responsive, accurate, and silent. The camera microphone can hardly pick up any focusing noise. But I do find that sometimes when I'm trying to focus, I can feel the motor moving continuously on the Samyang lens. So it's a little bit unsettling, but the final results look fine, so I guess it's not a big deal. Finally, let's look at size and build quality. If we put the two lenses side by side, it's really amazing how similar they are in size. We can easily mistake this combination as an APS-C set, right? They're both so compact and lightweight, and the design is very simple. There's only focusing ring on both lenses. There's no AF/MF switch or other customizable buttons. At the rear end of the Viltrox lens, we see a USB-C port for firmware update, and that's all. Now here comes the important thing. Which lens should you choose? If we look at the price, it might seem like an easy decision because the Viltrox lens is about $100 less expensive than the Samyang lens. And it is newer too. So you might think the Viltrox lens is a smarter choice, but let's not forget you can easily find a second-hand Samyang lens at similar price, since it was released in 2019, and you get 2 extra millimeters. And you know, as newer camera models offer higher and higher resolution, it is useful to have wider angle to crop. And also keep in mind, if you are shooting videos, sometimes the stabilization feature will crop your footage. In the case of Sony ZV-E1, dynamic active steady shot will crop about 30 or 40%. Don't get me wrong, I still think the Viltrox 20mm lens is a very good decision, but if you have to choose between these two lenses, I think the deciding factor should be whether you need the 2 extra millimeters or not. And also check the second-hand price of the Samyang lens versus the brand new price of the Viltrox lens. I hope this breakdown makes sense to you. Let me know in the comment below how you would choose between these two. If you find this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.